Hello and welcome to another edition of This Week in ITFC History. My name is David Diamond, and along with the Renegade Statman, we'll be looking at the names, the games, the wins, the draws and the losses from this week in ITFC History. Stat, well, I think we said this last season, coming to the end of our first season when we're doing the history pod. We really are on to the last lap now, aren't we, really?
The business end of the season.
I would certainly say so. Getting into late April and looking at these games we're covering tonight, it's certainly very much the business end. I would suggest. But before we go any further, how are you? Because Stat called off the pod on Sunday, the flagship show. I'm sure everyone out there will be aware. Stat's not too regular. Has not too regular appearances on the flagship show. He was up for appearing. Only called off with an injury. Talk us through it, Stat.
Yeah, well, I'm back once again now. But yeah, what I would just say is you're right to highlight the fact that I very rarely go on the flagship show. And
I thought,
when I pulled out, I think there was a few people that thought, that maybe I was going to go elsewhere. But I thought, why would I want to leave the best Ipswich podcast?
Absolutely,
so I decided to stay, and the reason I wasn't there was because I believe you could use the phrase, I had a gammy eye, and there was no way I was going on there. Rich suggested a patch or whatever.
A patch would have been pretty good, though.
A bit like the guy out of Marvel Avengers. Was it Nick Fury? I could have been like him.
Yeah, people were talking about that at work today. The latest film was like...
Don't tell me.
No, I'm not going to say what happened, but is it like film number 19 or 20 in the franchise? I've got to say, I've seen the total sum of none.
Well, you're missing out. It's a good wheeze, I think people would say. But yeah, what I would say, I had an eye injury, and that was the reason. But what I would like to announce is that I've signed another contract to be with Blue Monday next season as well. So
brilliant! I'm sure everyone
all I can do is show Ben what I can do, and if he thinks I'm good enough to go up to the flagship show. But yeah, you turned up a bit late.
Like there's a lot of fringe player. Well, no, not that I'm anyway calling you a fringe player, Stat, but there is a lot of fringe players in the town squad at the moment who are, they're out of contract in the summer, and the position's very sort of dodgy. Odd predicament for some of them. So I think it's honourable, mate. Honourable that you've nailed your colours to the mast, mate. When obviously there was talk of you defecting to KOA, was it? No,
never heard of it. I mean, in my opinion, what I want to be is on a show with you, the King of Anglia. And I think if you're the King of Anglia and Game of Thrones is back on, I would like to be the King's Hand.
Do you know what? That's something else I've never ever watched. I'm just missing out on all this stuff. I know all this stuff.
I sit there with the stat machine and watch it in the background.
There you go. Stat, come on, first game. Arguably, looking at this first game. Biggest game in Ipswich's history, probably. Obviously, not counting tomorrow's spoiler alert. Recording this on the Friday before the game at Bramall Lane tomorrow. Not counting obviously that one tomorrow, but I would say this is probably the biggest game in Ipswich's history.
It is the biggest game in Ipswich Town's history.
No, hang on, wait a minute. I forgot about the cup final 41 years ago, but up there in the top three, let's say.
Come on, Dave. People will know why this is the biggest game. The cup final is, winning the FA Cup is a major honour. We're the only East Anglian team to have done that, and we're rightly proud. But this game, I think, eclipses it.
I think probably does, just for the achievement. Anyway, Stat, take it away. Go on.
Right, so here we are. It's the 28th of April, 1962. It's a Saturday afternoon. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff. Quite a few people are in attendance. 28,932 people.
I saw this. Was this a record crowd at the time?
I'm going to say yes. Yeah. When I said to you that I wasn't greatly prepared, let's go with yes.
Yeah, to be fair, Stat has been carrying an injury all week, so I think we've done well to get anything out this week. Plus, obviously, he was on the back of his month's holiday, so he's back at school this week.
Hang
on, spoiler alert. Best book ever.
Ever. It's Ipswich Town in Division 1 go into their last game against Aston Villa. Yeah. Alf Ramsey, as he was then, hadn't yet been knighted. was obviously the Ipswich manager. And the thing that surprised me was who the Villa manager was. I knew the name, but I never knew he was associated with Aston Villa. But Joe Mercer.
Joe Mercer, yeah. So perhaps more well known in latter years for his led Man City to the title, won the cup final with Man City as well. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure in his youth an England player as well. I'm pretty sure Joe Mercer was probably an England international. Might have got that wrong, but yeah, certainly more well known. We would more known it. Oh, certainly what he was for a time. Sorry, was caretaker manager of England in early 70s, I believe, in the period between Don Revie and Ron Greenwood. I believe Joe Mercer was caretaker manager.
Well, he didn't have a very nice thing to say about us before this game, because he was confident that our rivals to win the title, Burnley, he was confident that they were going to get the result that they were going to need, and he also said that he felt that Villa were going to beat Town on the day.
Well, yeah, I think everyone expected Burnley, but it obviously turned out quite differently. I mean,
you want to set the scene, Dave?
Yeah, I can. I'll set the scene here. So we'd have been an incredible run with 6 games to go. We'd lost 5-0 away at Man United. Biggest defeat of the season, probably biggest defeat for many a season, 3 or 4 seasons probably. And I think people thought, yeah, that was the title, gone, up in smoke. And then the penultimate game, we managed to string, I think, then 5 games in, we managed to string a couple of wins together. We played Arsenal. I mean, this is incredible. This is how football was back then. So we played Arsenal at home, Good Friday, the 20th of April, drew 2-2. Yeah, I think that's right. 24. Yeah, drew 20th. Then the very next day, the 21st, which is Easter Saturday, we drew 2-2 away at Chelsea. And then 2 days later, so 3 games in 4 days was the one. We went to Arsenal and won 3-0, which I think people thought that would be the game that we would lose and hand the title to Burnley. Fantastic result. I think Crawford scored 2, or Phillips scored 2 and Crawford scored 1, or vice versa. So we absolutely pummeled Arsenal. Then went into this final game. Everything was set up, but so I think Burnley had 2 games to play. We were playing Villa at home. Burnley were playing already relegated Chelsea at home, which everyone thought was just perhaps a bit like Leeds and Wigan, I thought, last weekend or something like that, just a walk in the park. And, it wasn't. Take it away.
Well, Chelsea, as you say, finished bottom that season.
They did. Isn't
that quite funny? So we're talking about a game where Chelsea finished bottom and we are vying for the title. Now, you'd be surprised. There's not a great deal of footage of this on YouTube, but there is the goal action, and certainly
the goals are there.
What happened after.
Yeah.
So there's a few books. I got this one, which obviously you've got as well.
Yeah.
And then we've got I think it's Mel Henderson's match of my life.
Ah, okay.
That's
is
Ray
that
Crawford's.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Ray Crawford's. And then I've got
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Martin Brooks's Champions.
Yeah, that I haven't got. I must admit. Yeah.
Okay. This has got loads of stats, and
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to bring out, and I'm trying not to lose my page here, is the 1962-63 supporters annual. Now you might be thinking, why you got the 62-63 supporters annual? Because obviously it's got all of the match reports and stats from 61-62.
Fantastic. Where would you pick that up? You've had it a while, or?
Yeah, you can pick some of these up on eBay.
Yeah,
it depends if you want to wait and you want to find something decent, then you can do. Loads of adverts in here. As you did in the 60s, the standard
fags,
cigarette.
Churchman's. Oh, look at that, proper Churchman's just made round the corner. Yeah, brilliant.
I reckon there are some people who don't even realise that we're called Churchman's because of association with cigarettes.
Probably not.
You got Boots, you got Eastern Counties, but like I said, you got these little. I've got to kind of see where I am.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the match.
Who
plays for both teams.
Yeah.
And an advert from the Ipswich Steam Laundry Company.
There you go. Yeah.
So we've got that. So
love all that stuff.
We've also got Susan Gardner's History of Ipswich Town. There are a number of books. You'd understand why there's going to be a number of books for such a massive piece of history.
Yeah.
And like I said, if I wasn't, suffering with, trying to sign a new contract with Blue Monday, then I would have done a little bit more research. But so in the first half, it finishes 0-0. All I know is that we're going into the second half. There's about 20 minutes to go.
I think before we should really name the team, because this is
Oh,
the team.
yeah.
We should really look at the team, because this is, let's
that.
start
I
with the
forgot that,
Ipswich team, because this is a team really that carried us through. I mean, incredible when you look at it. It's just remarkable. We use a bit like Villa did when, I hate saying that, when they pipped us to the league in '81. We only used 16 players all season, of which Carberry, Moran and Nelson played all 42 games. I mean, it's incredible. Crawford, Ellsworthy and Ledbetter played 41, and I think Ted Phillips and perhaps Baxter or someone else played something like 40 games. But the real stat that leapt out of me for this season was we only had 6 players that scored a goal.
Yeah.
Just nuts. Absolute crazy.
Well, so when you were talking about that Easter weekend of Arsenal and stuff like that, Crawford scored 3 in those of those goals. Ledbetter scored 3 of those goals, and that was the difference that season. We just had goal machines.
No, we did. So the team, and this was I think this was the strongest team. So we're looking at, it was Roy Bailey, Larry Carberry, John Compton, who I think we signed from Chelsea, who I met. I met him at one of the players' dinners 2 or 3 seasons ago. He's still with us. Bill Baxter, Andy Nelson, who was also there, John Ellsworthy, Roy Stevenson, Doug Moran, Ray Crawford, Ted Phillips, and Jimmy Ledbetter. And so that was pretty much the core of the side. That was, you'd say, the first choice side for the majority of the season. Villa
Before you go to the Villa one, so that was our unchanged team in 4th game in a row.
Yeah.
And it was the same team that Alf Ramsey had fielded in 26 of the season's 41 other league matches. John Compston's 50th consecutive appearance. But yeah, you go through the Villa team, and I want you to go through the Villa team, because I looked at one of the guys and I was like, well, that name doesn't really... unusual name, isn't it?
What, Crow?
I wonder if the listeners...
Crow is a really unusual name. So I think we've got, I think it's Nigel Sims in goal. And we've got an interesting fullback, Gordon Lee, who went on to manage Everton, managed, I think, Newcastle as well, I believe. He was certainly manager of Everton. I remember when they knocked us out of the FA Cup, which I think is a game we covered, the one that Beattie headed from above the crossbar, quarter-final in 1980. He was manager of Everton then. And I think his name was Charlie Aitken. Then we've got Crow. Don't know his first, obviously Russell. And then we've got Sleevenhook. Sleevenhook.
Dave?
Must admit, don't know his surname. That is a hell of a. Don't know his Christian name.
It was Dave Sleevenhook.
Dave.
Yeah.
I hope. Yeah. Then we've got Deakin,
Ben,
McEwen, Baker, Thompson, and another interesting one. Derek Dugan went on to play for Wolves, Northern Ireland International. Who's, I think, chairman of the PFA for a time, and obviously the left winger, number 11, was J.R. Ewing.
Oh, you stole my joke.
You could say Bobby.
Bobby Ewing, yeah. Do you know who the referee was?
The referee was no, I don't. Do you?
I do, because the referee's name was Mr. E. Crawford of Doncaster. Because I've just read it
Seriously.
So I wonder, is it unique that the only time that Ipswich have won the title that the referee has got the same surname as a guy who scored?
There you go. Well, I suppose in a parallel universe, the only similarity I can make, and you'll like this, would have been obviously Andre and Paul Mariner, of course.
Oh, I like that.
Although that could never happen, because obviously they're generations apart. But that's the only. I mean, there must be others. But yeah, that springs to mind.
So 20 minutes to go. The crowd are obviously getting very nervous. Do you know what the score was at Burnley at half-time?
You just wouldn't know. I think. Do you remember? Can you remember this? When the scoreboard this might even be before your time. When the scoreboard used to have letters on. You had to correspond. The games in your division had the letters on, corresponded with a program, and they were shown on the old scoreboard, the manual scoreboard at half-time. Do you remember that?
I remember one up the scoreboard
and one up the Churchman's end in the corner. Where Breezy corner is.
Yeah, I do remember the scoreboard, but I think I remember the scoreboard when it was kind of defunct, because I think it hung around for a while, still there.
Yeah.
So you just had A, B, C, D.
Back in the day, you see it. You bought a program, and the names had all letters on, and then you could see the half-time scores and stuff. None of this fancy announcing coming over the, on the thing now. But so yeah, there was nothing, and the only other thing was sort of like obviously grainy bloody radios to your ear, trying to keep up.
So they had little transistor radios back in '62.
I'm sure they probably did stat in some way.
And there would have been
big fake like ones, they're massive like this,
Don't you find it sometimes though, when you're at a match, and now obviously people have got with their phones and stuff. I'm not really interested in what's going on. I find out at half time, and I find out at full time when I'm in the car.
Some people don't even watch the match. They're just following,
Yeah, but they'll do things like they'll turn around and say, "Coventry are 2-1 up." Why are you even watching that? I don't even know what league Coventry are in. Probably same as us next season. Yeah. So on the 72nd minute, Town win a free kick just in the corner between what would have been the West Stand and Churchman's. Yeah. Famous for making cigarettes. So Roy Stevenson, he floats over a beautiful free kick. John Ellsworthy, I think, he leaps up and his header the keeper's going up, the defenders are jumping up. Yeah. Beats everybody, but it comes back off the bar. But the thing I love about this is Ray Crawford, how quickly he reacts.
Yeah, he just like that, and he's brilliant, actually, superb reaction.
Diving header, 72 minutes, we're 1-0 up. Yeah. We're doing what at this point, it's not in our hands, is it? Let's be honest, we've just got to win to put the pressure on Burnley. 4 minutes later, Crawford scores again. That was his 34th goal of the season. So go back and what you were saying about we only had 6 goal scorers.
33rd league goal. So I think he was top. He was joint. He wasn't. Incredibly, he didn't win that. He wasn't top scorer in the whole league. He was joint top scorer, I think, with a guy called. I think we did this last season. Derek Kevin from West Brom. Crawford scored 33. Phillips scored 28. That's quite a potent front two, really, isn't it?
It certainly is. The footage then on YouTube just says, well, let's not worry about the last 14 minutes. So the next thing that you know is that the whistle's gone. Yeah. This is 1962, so people have got to remember the crowd pouring onto the pitch. The players finally not fight their way off it because obviously they were celebrating, but managed to get off the pitch.
Still, no one knows it.
Don't know if they're champions at all. No. All depends on the Burnley result.
Yeah,
and now we're over to David Diamond at Turf Moor with the Burnley result.
And incredible scenes here. It's Burnley 1, Chelsea 1. And Ipswich are champions. Oh, remarkable.
So then they had their man in the field, whoever he was, standing at Portman Road.
Yeah.
So Alf Ramsey doesn't even know at this point that he's won the title. And
do you know what I love about this? When the guy pretty much announces it, it's so he's so formal underwear. Oh, jolly good show. They're marvellous. Or what does it? I
think he goes, Mr. Ramsey, you've done it. You've won the first division title in your first attempt. How do you feel? And then he says, and I've written it down here, which is great. And apologies if I'm not great at accents, but I'm going to try and do it. This is how I think he said it. He went, I feel fine and I'm delighted. I'm delighted for everyone.
That's just brilliant.
You just won the league.
Absolutely brilliant. But there is a story, but I think this could have been the season before, or I'm not sure. I've read a story where just say what happens. This is incredible. So this is the biggest game. Yeah, we say probably is the biggest game in the town's history. And everybody then has to clear the pitch because what happens at about 6:30?
It's the Suffolk Senior Cup final.
Brilliant, isn't it? Between Brantham and Stowmarket. And do we know? I should have looked back and still won that. Who do we think won? I got me money on Stowmarket.
I'd hope Brantham.
All right, bro. We'll have a look. We'll have to check that. Sure, but that's fantastic. But I heard a story where, and I think it was in John Cobbold's book, where apparently after that game. Ramsey had stayed behind and celebrated. I think all the players had disappeared into town with their wives or whatever they'd done. And apparently, after that game and the Suffolk Senior Cup was gone, everyone had gone. He did a little lap of honour of the pitch, all on his own, apparently, with no one there. Brilliant!
Wow,
absolutely. This may have been the season before when they won promotion. I can't remember, but yeah, that's a great story.
Did he sprint round or was it just a?
I think it's like a gentle jog, I'd like to think.
And was he like, in his mind, the crowd
I'd like to think so. I hope so. I'd like to think so, yeah. I mean, that's a proper lap of honour, isn't it, that on your own? I mean, but you couldn't you? And we all know the history, unfortunately, season after that, he left Ipswich. Our fortunes, you could say, certainly nosedived after that. But what he went on to achieve with England, what a great, great man. Incredible.
He was.
What a story. What a story. Probably... Do you know what? I mean, people talk about Leicester, what they did the other year, but this, I don't know. Maybe I'm being biased. I think this eclipses that even. I mean, it's just what a story. What
well,
a
with
story.
with ignoring the inaugural season in 1888 or whatever, we were the first team to win the first division at our first attempt.
Yeah, I think, and that is it. That is certainly it. And I think that eclipses, Leicester. Okay, Leicester had been a bit of a yo-yo club over the years, but they had been in the Premier League for 3 or 4 seasons, perhaps building up to it. No one could see that coming, but do you know what I mean? They'd established themselves, but this was just, at the time, it was seismic at the time. Just took, as I said, the football world by storm, and it was Ramsey with his tactical genius of playing with the withdrawn wingers. So you play with Crawford and Phillips up front, and how it happened. Certainly Ledbetter did, but I think Stevenson as well used to drop deep and bring the fullbacks out, and they would just ping the balls inside the fullback, and Phillips and Crawford would have a field day. Unfortunately, that was pretty soon sussed out, pretty much, I think, by Bill Nicholson, the Spurs manager. I think sussed that out for the next season, and other clubs obviously did. And we, I think 1 or 2 of the players were aging by then, and as we said, we got relegated a couple of seasons after that. But what an absolute incredible achievement!
It was. There are so many books about it. I'm not going
brilliant. I've got to see that. I like that other one. That one
this
by
one?
that Martin Brooks. I've never seen. Yeah, never seen that. Yeah, because this one's great. Because what I like about this one, which I know you've got, is it's got a great forward by John Motson, who was obviously at school out at Culford, out of Bury that season. And I think it was the first season where he really started to sort of watch football. And of course, I think he always had a soft spot. He used to go and watch Ipswich, and always had a soft spot, for Ipswich from that very day. But there's also some brilliant stories in that book from supporters, who I one or 2 of them I know of through local football, as I've got older, who are, I don't know, teenagers back then and followed town all around the car. I mean, bloody hell, imagine witnessing that. Absolutely incredible.
Not that we're turning into book wars, because that's what that's Harry's job, and sorting out what the best books are. But my forward's by Ray Crawford, who's won a first division title. I don't know if John Motson has.
No, I don't think he probably has. No,
but the thing I like about this book is that it breaks down game by game where the league was. So
that's really good, because this book gives a synopsis of the game, but not a report on every single game. I've got to get hold of that. I'll have to search for that on eBay.
Top 6 looked after 12 games. Burnley were top with 19, with a game in hand on us, actually, and we were 6th. Played 13 games. We were 5 points behind.
I think the first 3 games we'd found enough feet. I think we'd won 1, drawn. No, 1-1. No, sorry, drawn 1, lost 2 of the first 3 games. So people were saying, "Oh yeah, Ipswich, this is how it's gonna pan out." However, I've got a good number 1. There's a number 1.
Yeah, go on. Do your number 1. Then we'll do something else. Go on, do your number 1.
No, you do yours first. Go on.
All right. So after the game, not directly after the game, because obviously Alf was still running around the pitch
Suffolk
and
Senior Cup.
celebrating Suffolk Senior Cup. Come on, Brantham. Town went on a planned tour of West Germany.
I actually love that.
So our younger listeners, if there are any, will probably think West Germany. There is only one West Germany. So you have to go back to previous pods to hear about West Germany and East Germany. But they went on a tour and they played against some teams that I've never heard of. So the first one was TSV Alemannia Aachen.
Well, I meant Aachen, but
right?
Yeah, Aachen, but I've never heard of the
Bundesliga.
Okay.
Second Bundesliga, whatever that. Bundesliga 2.
Bundesliga,
yeah. It's not bad there. 2012-13. They're now in the regional 4th division. To give you an idea where the regional 4th division, that's where Ipswich signed Danny Sonner from. So
seriously,
there you go.
Okay.
Then they went to Denmark. So if you have a little look at the map, Germany and Denmark quite close. So they then played Vel Bold Club.
Oh,
they're now in the Danish Superligaen.
Superligaen. Okay, yeah.
But I think they're known as Vale BK now or something. Then they went to the city of Kiel, and they played KFC. No, they didn't KFC. Sorry, I haven't had my dinner, Dave. They played KSV Holstein, who are currently in the Bundesliga 2. And then they went off and
this is a great name.
Yeah, it's what Darryl would come up with this. I thought we were in the MLS. They're playing the Offenbach Kickers.
Now, I have heard of this. I have heard of Offenbach Kickers. Yeah. And again, they're now in the regional 4th division along with TSV Alemannia Aachen.
Yeah, but fair play to KFC Holstein, who are, getting all the sponsor money that they can.
Absolutely.
So go on, hit me with your
rhythm
one.
stick. So it's not hit me with your rhythm stick. So it's number 1. I know you'll get this, but it's by Cliff Richard's band, which was you wouldn't know. Anyway, it's called Wonderful Land by the Shadows. I think it was number one for about 8 weeks.
I remember the Shadows. They used to do that funny walk when they played the guitar.
They're the ones. They're the ones. Wonderful Land is a great song, obviously, and they're all instrumental. Good song.
Did you just say that because I mentioned KFC and that I didn't have my dinner, and obviously the lead of the Shadows was Hank Marvin, which is that's exactly what I am.
That was a bit too tenuous for me, Stat. I couldn't possibly think that up. And the next one is another stonking game. Go on.
Wow, this is a fantastic game. So we get that they all are. So 28th of April 1984. Yeah. Town are in Division 1. So what are we talking about? We're talking 22 years after we won the title.
Yeah.
And we are now in 19th place.
Yeah.
So we're fighting to stay up.
Yeah. So this was really the first season that we're, after the great side. Well, we'll come on to that because there's one player here that has hit you in the, sort of makes you realise it. After the great UEFA Cup winning side broke up, this is the first season that we really, really struggled. And we weren't really struggling, but I think we had an horrendous run from like New Year onwards. When we played 11, we won 1 and lost 10. So yeah, that was, and I can remember it. I can remember thinking, Christ, we're going down. My God, how's this happened? But then, by the time this game came around, we were starting to turn it round a bit.
We were. I just want to ask you about that. So that run of, 1 win and 10 losses in 11 matches, were all the fans there? Were they really happy and showing how brilliant the club were?
No.
Football was a bit different in the 80s.
I think there was some Fergie out. Well, Bobby Ferguson, the manager. I think there was more than a few Fergie out chants by that time. I think there was still a fair degree of sympathy though, because we can see that the most of the crown jewels from that great side had obviously moved on, but and one in particular, which we'll get to in a minute.
So the form, obviously you talked about that, but we'd just beaten Norwich. I think the week before, standard back then, 2-0, and we'd actually that win had moved us out of the relegation zone, so we were 19th, and they were 22 in Division 1, and we travelled to, top of the table Liverpool, managed by Joe Fagan. Yeah. Now, how did he manage to manage Liverpool, but also release some top songs and stuff like that?
I thought that's living all right. Yeah, you're right actually. Yeah, again, Joe Fagan, one of the great, the fabled Liverpool boot room dynasty. So he had just obviously replaced the great Bob Paisley, who replaced the great Bill Shankly, and again, Joe Fagan was ultimately going to be replaced by, I think, probably Dalglish actually. Then Roy Evans. Dalglish, then Roy Evans from that boot room that didn't really work. But yeah, incredible. And to put it into context, Liverpool 84, probably 3 weeks away from retaining or certainly winning the European Cup again.
So this was on Match of the Day, the main game, and I was surprised. Like I said, I've been brought up to think that Jimmy Hill hated Ipswich, but he actually says some quite. My dad clearly was not that keen on Jimmy Hill, but likewise he wasn't that keen on Michel Platini. If he ever comes on the TV, he will have a bit of a swear.
Why do you ever swear on Michel Platini?
I don't know. He did something. Okay. So shall we go through the teams?
Yeah, let's go for the Liverpool teams. It's a bit special.
Yeah. No, what I want to say to you is that Liverpool are top.
Yeah.
It's 20. So they're getting for league game 39. So they're top. They're almost closing on the title, and the attendance just jumped out as being very low.
I cannot believe that. Whether they were because I think that was the season before 81, 82. I know at some point they pulled down the Kop and rebuilt it.
Yeah, 32,069.
Incredible. I couldn't believe that. I reckon they were still rebuilding. They were still, refurbishing the ground. I think it was the season before they rebuilt the Kop. They pulled the Kop down 81, 82, 82, 83. But no, that'd have been 2 years before. I don't know, but that seemed ridiculously low to me. It couldn't have been. That must have been the pretty much full capacity at the time for the ground, and the ground was being renovated, I should imagine.
Yeah. The Liverpool team. Do you reckon that the announcer at Anfield, when he was saying he would start off with going, hey? Because I think that whenever anybody does a Scouse accent, they always start off with going, hey.
Hey, Liverpool team today. All right. Yeah. Hey, Bruce Grobbelaar.
That famous Liverpudlian.
Bruce Grobbelaar.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Then we got Neil.
Phil Neal. And what I would say about Grobbelaar, people tend to forget that 84, so 4 or 5 years later, he was the closest to the obviously the Hillsborough, the Leppings Lane end when it all happened. And I heard him being interviewed, really moving interview on TalkSport. It was the 30th anniversary, wasn't it, the other week, where he says that, every single year that, anniversary, I'm sure it does for all the Liverpool players and everyone who was involved in it. Sorry, what I was saying. But especially Grobbelaar, he said, obviously it happened literally right in front of him. And he said, he still finds it tough to think about that. It was really moving. If I get a chance to hear it was. Anyway, sorry, come on.
Do you remember where you were when that story broke?
Yeah, I was playing one of the last games of the season. 84, I was probably playing for 89. Sorry, who's I playing for then? Fonera, I was playing for then. One of the last games of the season, and I think literally we'd probably come in at half time, and someone said, "Oh shit, look what's happened." There was a bar nearby where we used to play. We used to play at the Sugar Beet. By that time at Sproughton Road, there was a pitch there, not the greatest pitch.
Sweet.
And I think we came in half time and someone said, it's been a bar, this has all happened at Hillsborough. And you think, oh Christ, that's bad. And of course then you finish the game at, go back in at, 4:15 or whatever, and shit, it's all happened. Yeah. What about you?
I was working at Littlewoods. It was a Saturday job, my first ever job.
Yeah.
And I had the job of doing the stock take, which was fine. But then you had to go into the cold area. Yeah. We put a coat on. Then you had to go into the freezer area. We had to put a big coat and gloves. Pens wouldn't work, so you had to use a pencil, and then they didn't really work. So any excuse that I got to come out of the cold and go and see the butcher guy, who was the only person who had the radio on site, and I went and I think Town were playing that day. Or
I'm sure they probably were. Yeah.
And I went to find out the score, and he kind of told me what had happened. But again, heard that fairly early on, and then I think when I picked up the green, and there was certainly a reference after that, and but yeah, Grobbelaar. Let's go back to the team. So we've got Phil Neal. Sorry. Yeah, Kennedy.
Yeah, Alan Kennedy.
Alan
left
Kennedy.
back. Yeah.
And then we've got like a couple of match of the day, former match of the day stalwarts.
I mean, surely the smoothest, most brilliant. I would say the most rugged defenders, but they're probably the best two footballing centre halves I think I've ever seen as a pair. Not honestly, no joke. Lawrenson and Alan Hansen, absolutely brilliant.
I would go
players in their own right.
I would go as far as saying that Marc Lawrenson is the best defender Ireland have had that wasn't born in the island of Ireland. I can't think of another defender who played for Ireland, but yeah, I would put Marc Lawrenson above.
But you wouldn't put him above Paul McGrath, obviously.
Paul McGrath, no.
Yeah, no.
Of course not. Alan Hansen was the other one.
Yeah, player.
So then we've got Whelan.
Yeah, Ronnie Whelan. Yeah, another Irish. I mean, Christ, look at that. Yeah.
And the next guy, no, I'm going to do it as I've put the spelling mistake. You can see I'll do that. But maybe the stat machine has actually put a Scouse accent on it because it's down there. Dalglish.
Dalglish. It's pronounced Dalglish, really, isn't it? Yeah, it's Dalglish. But Christ, what a player.
The next guy was small and round and bounced on the ground.
Sammy Lee. Yeah. The next guy. Don't. And this is what brings it back, really. Well, it must be one of his first games.
Yeah, the next guy, he's in the game because Souness Shock was suspended. And it was John Walk.
Johnny Walk. Christ.
It's uncomfortable running around in the Crown Paint jersey they had.
Yeah, sad, mate. I reckon he'd only joined a few weeks before. I think he made his debut inevitably scored, I believe, away at Watford. I seem to remember. But yeah, and that sort of brings it home really when you see him in a Liverpool shirt.
Certainly when you see some of the players that have kind of replaced him when we go through our team.
Yep.
And then obviously you've got Ian Rush, goal machine.
He's greatest ever goal scorer.
Goals or whatever, something stupid like that.
I mean, he's Finnish. I mean, just look at Dalglish.
He's Finnish. I thought he was Welsh.
Right? Yeah, okay. But I got a little story to tell. So a few years ago, I was at a dinner at Portman Road, and Walkie was there, and I had a mate with me from London. Friend of mine from London, who's sort of a football supporter, more into rugby, but into football, bizarrely supports Wolves. So there's a reason for it. He loves it now. He's always texting me now. It's fantastic. And I said, "Oh, John, Johnny's his name was John." I said, "I'll introduce you to to John Walk. He said, "Oh yeah, John Walk." He said, "I remember you, Ipswich. I did this for Ipswich. All those goals you scored from midfield." I said, "Don't forget you played for Liverpool." He said, "Oh yeah." He said, "You did play for Liverpool." He said, "I can't remember much really about Liverpool." And then Walk, he was pretty, laid back. Said, I said, "You did well at Liverpool, Walk." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Fortunate enough." He said, "First season, obviously, won a European Cup and won the league. Second season, unfortunately, it was the Heysel, but played.
Yeah.
And he said, "But yeah, that second season I did pretty well." I think it was the second. It must have been the second season. It could have been. I think it was the second season. He said, "Yeah." He said, "I had a pretty good season." Yeah. He said, "Unfortunately, I finished top goal scorer." And this puts it in the context. I said, "Bloody hell, did you?" "Yeah, top goal scorer." He said, "I said, some pretty good players in that team." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Second was Rushy and third was Dalglish."
Wow. Absolute goal machine.
So he's still doing it at Liverpool.
Do you think that he would have? Would he have been in a better position if he'd played up front?
No.
No,
he didn't have the pace. I don't think he just had that knack, didn't he? He just had that
being in the right place at the right time.
You can't teach that. The timing of the runs, the late runs, and he was just always there. When Robson called him like Johnny on the spot, and he was when he was just. Well, you've seen the goals, and just every time he was there in the box, and he just had that knack, just right place at the right time. Fantastic. He would be worth. Well, don't even contemplate it today what he'd be worth. Good God. I mean, someone like this amazed me today. Paul Pogba. I know we don't talk about it. Yeah. Paul Pogba got in he got in the Premier League Team of the Year, didn't he? But that shows what these fellow pros think of him. But no comparison, for God's sake.
Yeah, but are they like? You've got this form to fill in as the PFA Player of the Year, and they go down. I think
Pogba.
Yeah, Pogba. I'll put him down.
Yeah.
That's a bit like Carlo Nash won the Norwich City Supporters Player of the Year, I think, in 2012. There was a protest vote, so they got the lonely goalkeeper.
Reserve goalkeeper. I remember that.
Made me think about that. We missed a trick, didn't we, this year?
We certainly did. Who would you have given it to? John Al Donatian, or who would you have given it to? Do you think?
I'd still go with Paddy Kenny. I'm still inkling that he would win it. But yeah,
if we go through the Ipswich side, we can.
Liverpool played with 11 men, so I got one man left. Which was
mate.
The Australian Craig Johnston.
Better known for invented the Adidas Predator, of course, but a very good footballer as well.
But I thought also better known, even more better known than that. Didn't he write the Anfield rap?
Oh, what am I talking about? Of course he did, and starred in it with Krabala as well. Yeah.
After this, I'm gonna go onto YouTube and I'm gonna with a little listen. So let's go through the town team, and there are some greats in here.
There's still some greats in here.
Yeah. You'll spot them. So Paul Cooper in goal.
There's
Frank Yallop at right back.
Look at that. That's a stat. Look, I mean, think how many games Yallop played for the town.
385. Yeah.
Third league game. Look at that.
At Anfield. Wow. So Steve McCall is at left back, and then Russell Osman, another stalwart from the team of the 80s, early 80s, is partnering Ian Cranston.
See, I always rated him. Always be strong, good in the air. Had a good career, I think. Went to Sheffield Wednesday after town, and pretty much I think played a lot in the top division. Yeah, good, strong player. I'm sure England under 21 for sure. And came through. Butcher left a season or two after this. Shock alert. Obviously, he was playing because Butcher obviously was injured here.
Yeah.
But yeah, good player. I like Cranston. Good player. Strong.
That was his fifth league game. Yeah, so you think back four. We only had eight games between them.
I mean, you've got a solid other three. Cooper, McCall, and Osman played a lot of games there. So that's when to bring young players in alongside those guys. But it's some good players in this team. Go on, Stan.
There is. Going back to Ian Cranston.
Yeah,
I thought he was a great player, but the one thing I didn't like was the headband. He used to.
He did sport a headband, didn't he? Yeah.
Can you imagine a footballer now coming out on the pitch wearing a headband? Maybe they do. I don't know.
Well, they were Alice bands, I suppose. I don't know. Not so obvious, are they? Some of them. But the other one I remember back in the day, Steve Foster. Do you remember Foster used to sport a headband? But sadly, So sadly lost to the game now. Go on. Yeah.
Let's go through the rest of the team. Yeah. So we've got Romeo Zondervan, Trevor Putney, the former postman.
Yeah. Again, he couldn't have played many games up till then. Yeah.
No, Marc Brennan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. Marc Brennan. Yeah, I mean, I think he was only about 18 then when because he wasn't he
Here's a stat. When Dazelle scored that goal earlier that season,
against
had
Coventry,
he not scored in the same match, and until Dazelle scored, was he not the youngest scorer up until Dazelle scored?
I'm glad that you listen to these pods as well. You're spot
I learned
on,
this all off you, man.
Yeah.
I learned this all off you.
Nobody probably cared. I was going to say,
I do.
Yeah,
I care.
So I think Colin Viljoen might have had the record for
Okay.
4.
Yeah.
And it was a long record. We're talking about the youngest player,
Brent. 67. I reckon made his debut. So yeah.
Brennan then scores in the game.
Yeah.
Then young Jason Dazelle comes off the bench and obviously creates history by scoring. Everybody says, Jason Dazelle, brilliant, the youngest ever goal scorer. No one cared that Marc Brennan was 18 years and 132 days or whatever.
Yeah.
So we've got Marc Brennan finishing off the team. Where are we? We've got Eric Gates. More of him later. Yeah. Mishtavray. Yeah. He has diplomatic immunity.
That's the diplomatic immunity.
Yeah. And I'm just checking the team, but he could play because did they still have the 2 foreigner rule back in '84? Because only him and Zondervan in there.
I guess so. Yeah, I reckon it was that. Yeah, and then this guy. Yeah,
playing up front, Alan Sunderland, who was on loan from Arsenal.
I don't think his role in that season, and also the next season when we stayed up, can be underestimated. Actually, he did a really good job for Ipswich at the time, and a lot of experience.
Is he unique in that he's the only player to play for Ipswich that's got a surname against a team that we play against?
No, it's that cup final thing, isn't it? Which says, hang on, let me get this right. Sunderland did it in 79. Villa did it in 81. Who did it in 80?
Tommy Hutchison.
Yeah, Trevor Brooking.
Oh, Trevor Brooking. I went the wrong way. Yeah, Trevor Brooking.
Yeah, but it's the only one I think of is obviously Ricky Villa, I suppose.
So we didn't have like a Jimmy Lester or Martin Sheffield.
Don't think so. No, I'm sure there was a player.
Ham.
I'm sure there was a player called Sheffield. Alan Arsenal. No, don't think so, mate.
Alan Arsenal would be great. I'm changing my Twitter name. I'm going to be Alan Arsenal from now on.
Willie Wolves. No, I don't know. Oh, can we make? Oh, we haven't done the game. Hang on, we haven't done the game yet. And what we got? Liverpool side. Neil Kennedy, boring. Yeah. Kennedy Lawrenson, decent, I suppose. No, Lee Walk, boring. No. Ipswich. Oh, I found one. Yallop McCall. Yallop McCall, mate. It's like some desperado gunslinger in the Wild West.
You got a little poster of this guy, Yallop McCall.
I've got a posse after him. I'm bringing Yallop McCall in.
Yallop McCall, yeah. Get the sheriff of the town in. Or
posh. You could go posh and have your MP could be called Putney Brennan.
Putney Brennan. He would be, wouldn't he? Conservative MP.
Oh, absolutely. Conservative MP, Putney Brennan.
Eric Gates was the captain.
Yeah.
And you're right, because the team is missing Burley, hence Frank Yallop, Butcher, and Kevin O'Callaghan, who'd all been ruled out for the rest of a couple of games or whatever.
Honestly, it makes it even more impressive, really.
Another thing that I liked about this was that the referee was called Trelford Mills.
Trelford Mills, yeah.
Do you know any other Trelfords?
I don't know any other Trelford.
Is that a made-up name?
Do you think it could be they slipped an R in? His name's Telford or something like that. I don't know. I've never heard of anyone else called Trelford. Good name, though. Good, strong name.
Trelford Mills. Now, the thing that I noticed from watching the footage on YouTube was they obviously had the coin toss, and Liverpool kicked off towards the Cop end in the first half. So, if you watch football now, Liverpool always seem to want the Cop to suck the ball into the back of the net and support them there.
They always said, but again, if the Cop was being renovated, don't forget it wasn't such an advantage back then. Maybe, perhaps we've hit on something there.
I like that. I'm not even going to look it up and assume that is actual fact now. Yeah. So the game kicks off, and I tell you what, young Frank Yallop, the Canadian, he's got a long range effort in the first half that goes over probably within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And a lot of the attacks that Town have got there are utilising the height of Mr. Vray.
Yeah.
And a number of high balls, and he's up there against, like you say, Hansen and Lawrenson and stuff like that. So a real tough battle. And then in the 19th minute, Town are awarded a free kick. I don't even think the referee gives a yellow card, but I think it was a yellow card. So Town got a free kick. They're attacking what would be the Anfield Road end.
Yeah.
And the ball's fairly central. They're about 5 yards outside of the D, and it's an indirect free kick. Marc Brennan's standing there just like he's not really bothered. And he rolls it sideways about 1 or 2 yards.
Yeah.
Liverpool players start to react, but Gates is on it like a cat and just, I don't know.
Pounces on it.
Yeah, pounces on it. And he's got a low shot that beats Grobbelaar. Yeah. Town go 1-0 up in a game that realistically they needed to get something out of this game.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Liverpool were huge favourites. I'm not sure with an eye on tomorrow's game. They're like Ipswich were like 20-1 to win it, but Christ. But yeah, I mean Liverpool massive favourites. Yeah.
So 12 minutes later, Town are playing some good football. They kind of play that football that Paul Lambert tried to get us to play for a little bit, but then he changed his mind and went off to play like someone else. But they're playing football but they overplay it in their own corner, and in the corner of the pitch. Liverpool force the ball off for a corner. They take the corner, taken quickly and short into the Town's penalty area. And Town just failed to clear, and the ball kind of goes back into the penalty area, deflects off Brennan, and it goes to Alan Kennedy, who, like I said, is spectacular. What a volley he's
buries it. Just stays about low, about a couple of feet off the ground, and absolutely buries it in the corner in front of the Kop, of course.
At this point, Bobby Ferguson is probably saying, "Well, I tell you what, we just got to get to half time. There's 14 minutes. Unfortunately, 6 minutes later, Liverpool take the lead. Sammy Lee's bouncing on the ground, and he crosses the ball at the same time. It's a great cross. It's quite deep. He's quite a distance back, so he plays one of those sort of forward. What do you call it? A 90-degree. What would be a swooping cross. Let's call it a swooping cross. Let's not bring out a sweeping cross in. Yeah. Walkie's there, and Walkie dummies it. He's on a different level to everybody else. And then who's at the back post? But Ian Rush comes in and just fires it past Cooper. 2-1.
So you're up against it, aren't you? Absolutely.
So you go in at half time, and you're thinking, well, exactly. We're 2-1 down. We're probably at that point thinking we're not going to win this game. With an eye on the other games. But 57th minute, Tanner attacking the Kop end at this point, and maybe the fact that the Kop was completely dismantled in this game kind of helped Town, and stuff like that. A few builders were standing there behind the goal, and I'll tell you what, you've got to watch this goal.
This is one of my favourite Town
brilliant goal.
Pretty sure it was in goal of season. So I reckon this goal won goal of the month back then. I'm pretty sure it did.
So are we saying that
I don't think it won goal of the season, because I think this was a season where Hoddle could have won it for that ridiculous chip at Watford. It was one of those seasons where it was a ridiculous goal. Yeah. But this was special.
It was absolutely special. So Sunderland, he's done well. He's kind of, if you're watching, if you're trying to picture it, if you think you're watching Liverpool play on the TV, kind of in front of the dugout, and Sunderland is attacking. He's in Liverpool's half, and he plays this sublime pass with the outside of his foot, which just makes it look a million times better.
Yeah.
Did you ever play? How many people in the 80s? Nobody in the 70s played the ball on the outside of their foot that often, did they? Unless they were Brazilian.
Not really. You had to be special. I mean, there weren't many. Merson used to do it. Denny Merson could take corners like that and stuff. Yeah, it's special. Yeah. So
he plays the ball passes the ball with the outside of his foot to Davray and
touch.
He just touched it. Yeah. Just comes to him and just, what would you call it? It's a touch, but it's a cushion. Is it a little ping? A little deft movement there, and
finish.
Gates is just running into it, and he fires in a brilliant volley. Grobbelaar moans after, but
absolutely in the top bin. It's an unbelievable. Anyone who hasn't seen it, honestly, please go on YouTube and watch this goal. It is one of the best. Yeah.
And so anyway, the game ends 2-2. There's about an hour and 20 minutes of this game, which can't be because it didn't go into extra time. There's about 40 minutes of highlights. But I didn't watch it all. But it's well worth a watch. At the end, on Match of the Day, they've got Jimmy Hill, who said, this is what made me think, hang on a minute, it's not what my dad says. But Jimmy Hill said it would indeed be very sad. How did he speak? I don't know. He didn't really have an accent, did he?
No, he had a big chin and a beard, didn't he? That had nothing to do with his accent. I know, but I
just big enough.
It's very, very sad. No, I can't do it. No, go on.
No, I won't do it. I won't do it. You keep the double ones over there. So it would indeed be very sad if Ipswich did go down in their first poor season in a number of years.
Yeah,
I thought, cheers, Jimmy.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Absolutely. I mean, and this is what, with the injuries we had and the players we had, that was incredible because we won 5, drew 2 of the last 7 games, and relegation. We finished 12th, but it was such a concertina league. So we finished 12th, but only 3 points separated us from 19th place Coventry. So there was a lot of traffic in between there. So this was a really important result.
Who went down that year?
Sorry?
Do you know who went down that year?
I reckon Wolves potentially, I think. I can't remember. But this was, I think, a few days before, and I went to this game, and we covered this game last year. Following this game, I'm pretty sure on the Monday, it could have been the Monday 10 days ahead, but I think it was a Monday, it was a bank holiday. We played Man U at Old Trafford and beat them 2-1. Sunland scored in that game, and De Vrij scored. And this was that game, do you remember, where it was that long ago until like a year or two ago. It was the last time Man United had been behind had been winning at half-time at Old Trafford. And ended up getting beaten. That was incredible. I just didn't realise that stat till that came out a couple of years ago. Incredible stat. So
30-odd years, I think, we held that record.
Absolutely. I mean, what just a brilliant end to the season. That, so in the end, we finished, mid-table, almost 12th. Amazing.
12th, yeah.
Well, and obviously, shock. Liverpool went on to win the title. I think they pipped Everton by 2 or 3 points, I think, and then went on to beat Roma. Famous Grobbelaar. Jelly legs for the penalties.
It's interesting you call it jelly legs because I know somebody who calls it spaghetti legs.
Spaghetti. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
No, but jelly legs is good.
Jelly legs, wobbly legs, whatever legs. But a good number one. A pretty strong number one.
1984.
1984. I think it was on. I think it was Motown. It was on. I think it was Motown then. Motown label, and it was the opposite of Goodbye.
The opposite of Goodbye.
Yeah.
Good Day. Was it? I'm just grasping at the only thing that I can think of as the opposite of Goodbye. Was it? Hello.
Hey, there you go.
Is it me you're looking for?
And it's almost like him, Stat. If I shut my eyes, it could be Lionel singing it.
You can see it in your.
No.
And that wasn't that the thing where he wasn't blind. But the video, I remember,
but the girl doing the
modelling
with the yeah.
And she made a model of him,
unbelievable,
but not seeing his face, but by just touching his face.
Incredible, amazing, mate.
I don't know what's going to beat that.
What a game! We've got another one coming. I'm just breathless with all this tonight. What about the next game then, mate? One of my favourite away days ever. I've got to say.
Yeah. I missed. It's a great game. I missed it, and I'll explain why. Let me tell you the date.
You were planning your nuptials, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. 29th of April 2000. So it's a 3 p.m. kickoff. We're in Division 1, and we visit the Valley, and George Burley's Ipswich being entertained by Alan Kirbishley.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember this game because Charlton were already champions. I think they were already promoted.
They were getting presented with it that day.
Yeah. I think most town fans thought, this is a game that we've got to win, and we're not quite sure what Charlton we're going to get. Are we going to get Charlton who are just, high flying and, they've won the league and they play, well, not that they had the shackles on, but
play with gay abandon.
Gay abandon, yeah, exactly. Or they just weren't really that bothered and, we could take an opportunity. Well, I wasn't to know because less than a month, just under a month after this, I was getting married.
You've been fitted up for your wedding suit, weren't you, Stat?
We were in that shopping centre by the river in London. By the bridge, QE2 bridge. You've got not Blue Water, whatever it used to be.
Oh, Lakeside.
Lakeside.
Oh, Lakeside. Yeah. Oh, you're in Lake. Oh, dear. Yeah.
So
Lakeside.
Just check and see if anybody can hear me. So being dragged around, right, this place, when I wanted to be at the Valley, looking at shoes,
But if you're a Lakeside stat, you really weren't that far from the Valley either, were you? Mate, you were like half hour away.
That discussion was had for a little bit.
Man.
But
what do you think? What did you run it by Claire? Claire, do you think?
Just go down there.
If I leave you here, here's a credit card. Get on with it, and I'll be back in a couple of hours.
No such luck. So I'll tell you how I kept updated with the game.
Go on.
Going past places like whatever they had, Hughes or whatever,
Fusion,
and standing.
That's how people used to do it.
Watching the TV.
Teletext.
They had teletext, and the page was, and you'd get there, and you'd suddenly go, "Oh, it's on page 2 now," and clearly Charlton versus Ipswich was on page 1, and I've now got to wait till it comes around.
You've been called. Stat man.
Shoes
Look, what do you think of these shoes, stat man? Yeah.
So I was either outside the TV shop or going into Victoria's Secrets. That's basically what I was trying to do in Lakeside.
Every cloud.
Enough about the fact that I missed this game, and like I said, you're there, but can you just tell me a little bit about the atmosphere, what you remember? Because it looked great on
it was brilliant. It was a hot day. I don't know if you remember. It was a really boiling hot day, a bit like last weekend, really. Fantastic. I went with Jordan was a bit young. I know I went with Pat. Jordan, I don't think I went with Pat and Pat's son, I believe. Anyway, one of the best away days ever. So we needed the point. So it was just to set the scene. Charlton already promoted. Already won a championship. Man City was second. We were pretty much neck and neck, as all these previous, well, certainly the previous season, I think, neck and neck with Man City for the last automatic promotion place. With if we didn't get that, it's the playoffs looming again for the fourth successive season, and we'd all known what happened in the previous 3, or the third successive season. No, fourth, and we all known what had happened in the previous 3. So a little bit edgy, but mate, we turned it on that day. Brilliant.
Us in the playoffs, you made me think of that Monty Python sketch of the Spanish Inquisition. There are 3, no, 4.
That's right.
Well, I tell you what, we'll go through this game, but I am going to say about the game, about one player in particular, the absolute influence he had on getting us promoted that season, and we'll come to him. So let's go through the Charlton team.
Yeah.
Kiley in goal.
Yeah, Dean Kiley. Yeah.
Spinning around, he was a few times. Brown.
I just can't get him out of my head. Steve Brown.
I just can't get Blue Monday out of my head.
Hey, Steve Brown.
Powell.
Chris Powell.
Yeah. Rufus.
Richard
Rufus.
Yeah.
Tyler.
Law. No, Carl Tyler.
I thought it was Carl Tyler, and I thought, what's he saying?
Tyler.
Stuart.
Oh God, it's the Stewart who played for Chelsea. What's his first name? I can't remember. They used to call him Bobby Stewart. It's Graham Stewart. Yeah.
Newton.
Yeah, Sean Newton.
Newton. Kinsella.
Yeah, Mark Kinsella, Irish international.
Right, yeah. Hunt.
Stephen Hunt.
Yeah. Is it?
Is his name Stephen Hunt? Oh, I can't remember. Oh, it's not the Stephen Hunt.
No.
I can't remember what his first name is. Go on, put me right. What was it?
I don't know. I'm looking down at my notes. I thought you know all of these. Oh, it doesn't matter.
I probably do.
The next guy, what a player. Kitson.
Yeah, Dave Kitson.
We were linked with him a few times, weren't we?
Big change. Yeah, we were. Yeah.
And Robinson.
Yeah.
Paul, I want to say.
We don't want to say Paul Robinson.
Yeah.
Again. Look at the sub. Look who's on the bench.
Yeah. Gary Parker. And is it... Who's Michael Svensson, is it?
It's Matthias Svensson that played for them.
Matthias Svensson, is it?
And I said Scott Parker on the bench.
Scott Parker, not Gary Parker. Scott Parker.
Scott Parker on the bench.
The Fulham manager.
Yeah, Matthias Svensson that went on to play for them up the road, as GB would say.
I tell you what, I've just picked out a great one. If you were if you were having a vacation.
Andy, all right, Rich. Yeah, Andy Hunt. Yeah, okay.
Andy Hunt. Thank you, Rich.
Of course it was.
If we look at that list of Charlton names, what a great one. The guy who's called Rufus Tyler.
Oh, that's awesome. Stuart Newton's pretty boring. I love this game. Kitson Robinson's pretty decent. Who else we got? Nah, nothing else. I can't see anything else there. Go on.
No, but I like Rufus Tyler.
I like Rufus Tyler. Yeah.
The town team. So we've got Richard Wright, Fabian Wilness.
Yeah.
Gary Croft.
Yeah.
Now, Can you remember the formation? Cause, look at the team. You've got Venus, Mowbray, and Wayne Brown.
Those 3 centre backs, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's 5. It's 3. Back 3 there. Back centre. Back 3. Yeah.
And then you've got Holland, Magilton. It makes me cry actually reading the names of these. Holland, Magilton, Scowcroft, Johnston, and Stewart.
Yeah. I quite like Venus Mowbray. What do you think of that? Venus Mowbray. It sounds like an actress or something like that.
Well, I was going to say a seductive actress.
There you go. Yeah, Venus Mowbray. And I quite like Mowbray Brown. That's pretty decent as well.
Mowbray Brown. He would be a schoolboy in the 1920s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mowbray Brown, come here.
What's unusual about that team, though, and that's something you didn't see. I didn't realise that. Clapham on the bench.
Yeah.
He was nailed on regular when he was fit, so that's an unusual. Maybe he was. Yeah, okay, that's an interesting one.
Do you want to go through
I'd assume
the next sub?
Sorry,
the next sub. Do you want to mention him?
Yeah, I love him. Him. Is Toto? Is our new? Is Toto Enciala the modern day Manu Detti, or is there no comparison? Do we think? I can't see Toto Enciala scoring with a overhead back heel at West Brom.
But to be fair, I couldn't see Jean Manuel Tetti score with an overhead kick, so I don't know. And the other guy, Martin Rooson, we'll come on to him later.
Oh, ridiculous. Stop.
Charlton,
Stop it. What
not really a big team, are they? They've won the league. They've only got 20,000.
Well, it's not a big ground, was it? No.
But I heard that they were developing the Cop during this game, so that's why the attendance was a
good
bit
atmosphere
lower.
That day. Ipswich End was heaving. I don't know if Rich Liston was there, but it was absolutely heaving that day. I'm sure Ben must have been there.
I'll chip in, gents. Sorry,
Rich.
It's my first ever away game.
Wow!
And I'm not underselling this game. What a game, wasn't it?
It was brilliant. Yeah.
One of my favourite away days.
I went on the bus with my mate. It was first away game.
Start crying and Stat was just bloody shopping for lingerie and shoes, for God's sake.
It was absolutely heaving in John Lewis there, or House of Fraser, or whatever they had.
What was the atmosphere like in?
It was a bit crazy on the escalator, and then they had in Starbucks they had a fancy thing that they called a latte, I think is what we called it then, and everybody was kind of trying to get in there, but So anyway,
brilliant away game.
Back to the game.
Let's get to the goals.
So
let's get to them.
Somewhere around here, if you look, Dave, the voice of God, if you are the King of Anglia and I'm the King's hand, then the God of Anglia. Yeah. Sorry, Ben, is clearly Rich somewhere around. Great commentary on the game by Ned Bolting.
I heard it's his last ever football commentary, and he couldn't follow this, so he just went on to commentate on cycling after this. I think he couldn't follow this commentary, so he went.
I tell you what, I've got a couple of his books, How I Won the Yellow Jumper and whichever the other one is, but both of them have got a couple of pages ripped out at the beginning, and I think it was that bit there which I missed where he said that actually after I commentated on this game, and he called his firstborn Magilton as well. No idea why. Let's have a look.
Magilton Bolting, that's a great
24th minute, Town win a free kick, and they're attacking the home end of the valley, if you can imagine it. So the opposite end for the Town fans, and Magilton just what do you say? It's about 30 yards out.
Standard.
Hits it over the wall. Yeah. Kylie's nowhere near it. I wish I knew more Kylie songs. Feel free to shout a few in, Rich, if you want, because I know that you can Google them. 1-0 up, 24 minutes.
You'd have been so lucky to save that. Anyway, go on.
I did not think of that one.
I don't know, Stat. Go on.
I can't. See, I'm being a typical bloke now, which is trying to speak about the game, but also thinking of
Kylie hits.
Kylie, well, not thinking about Kylie, but so half-time we're going.
Hits, I said. Sorry, go on, Mark.
We're going at half-time, 1-0 up, and I think... can you explain what was it like in the away end?
Mate, it was absolutely awesome, mate. Best atmosphere I think I've ever been in, and nearly as good as a cup final and a cup semi-final start. Sorry.
Oh.
Go on, mate. It was brilliant. It was really good. Carnival atmosphere.
I sort of changed it a little bit in the second half. So one of the TVs I spotted had the ITV teletext version of the scores. I always thought it was an inferior version to CFAX, because you'd have to then go through an advert about a holiday home in Egypt or something like that.
No comparison.
So I know at half-time I see that we're 1-0 up, and I'm absolutely buzzing at looking at the 15th pair of shoes that my wife or my fiancée could wear on our honeymoon.
Yep.
9 minutes into the second half, Jim Magilton is absolutely brilliant here. It's everything about Jim. He's tough in the tackle. He gets right in there. He's biting in the tackle. Wins the ball.
Yeah.
He's just on the edge of the centre circle, so we're attacking the town fans. Yeah. And then he plays the lovely lofted pass.
Precision.
If that was a golf pass, a shot in golf, would that be a sand wedge?
No, a bit more than that. I'd say it's a sort of fairly well struck 9-iron actually.
A 9-iron.
Yeah.
Is that like a sand wedge or?
No, a little lofted, but sand wedge, 9-iron. Yeah, I'd say there's a well struck 9-iron. Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant. And I tell you what,
a little shallow divot as he hit it. Yeah.
The ball goes to Johnston, and I wrote my notes down here, and I didn't realise, but subliminally, when I went back just to check, so I checked my notes in the goal. Yeah. I've written down, it goes forward to Johnston, who does what Johnson does best. Yeah. That was his 21st goal of the season. I then go back to watch it, and then Ned Bolton says, and the ball was through to David Johnson, who does what Johnson does. So he didn't quite say the same as me. But
I'll tell you what I remember about this, he didn't mess with that finish, didn't he? I think it was like one touch. I think he might have headed it or got it at his feet, whack. Didn't mess with it at all, did he? Great goal. 71
minutes. At this point, Martin Roos is on. And again, this is brilliant from Magilton. He's out on the wing. He's out on the right wing. Again, there's another tackle that he wins. He wins the ball on the byline, and he takes it about 20 yards, advances forward. He goes into the penalty area, and then he picks out Rooser, who was almost unmarked at that point. He's got an opportunity to get a shot out, and he's closed down, but he somehow scrambles the ball into the net.
Yeah, it's a bit of a miss hit, and he wrong foots. Oh, poor old Kylie's. Obviously, he's got a mind on Jason Donovan, hasn't she, at that point, I think.
Yeah.
Completely wrong foot, sir.
Do you think he ever said to her, "I close my eyes"? I do that every morning. Draw back the curtain. She'd go, "Oh, not that again, Jace." You're all right. You said people send you more messages.
Yeah, it's rich with more. It's rich with more Kylie.
He's feeding you with songs.
Yeah, he's googling like crazy, mate.
You can. Oh, you try and fit
Rich, all I've got to say is, Rich, you've got to come up with something better than that, mate. I'm not even going to repeat that one. But anyway, go on.
Okay. That was Rooster's second goal for Town. And did you know that season, the 4 goals that he scored for us all came from off the bench?
Wow. Let me think. Fulham on his debut.
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, playoff semi in the 5. Bloody hell, yeah. Stunning.
There you go.
Yeah, good stat. Love that. Love that.
9 minutes to go. Charlton think, well, they better do something about it. Town know the game's won. And Robinson plays a fast-paced free kick, headed past right, who had no chance. You got to say that...
close range, yeah.
Yeah, the defender was a little bit iffy, but to be fair, it was a good goal. So then suddenly...
Stephen Andy Hunt scored.
Yeah. Their other younger brother. Yeah. And so all eyes are on the following weekend when we entertain Walsall. Imagine ever playing Walsall.
We
entertain Walsall, and we hope that Blackburn beat Manchester City.
And I think Jono took forward his red hot goal scoring form. Did he not score a brace that day? I believe he did.
And I think we covered that game last season.
Yeah, we did, and this was the one where Man City. I mean, people I suppose were.
Dave, I've just heard Blackburn are 4-0 up in that game.
I just heard Matt Jansen scored his hat trick. Yeah. Oh no. Hang on. Oh no, it's not. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
Was this a game I know it was Bradford the year before, but I think this was the game where I think people in the boxes had thought Blackburn had scored, but it was a replay of a previous goal they'd scored. Oh, for God's sake. Anyway,
don't ever trust people who sit in executive boxes. And apologies, because I know that you do that fairly often.
Never. But I think that's. But look, hey, had we, obviously we won that day. Had City lost, we'd have been. Oh no, you're going to hate this as well, aren't you? Would have been spared that brilliant, even better day at Wembley.
Yeah, I was sitting on a plane watching Galaxy Quest.
Oh Lord!
Convincing my.
You did say this. So when did you know the score?
When did I know the score?
When were you actually in the air when the game was going on?
No,
not quite at the airport.
The Barnsley game? Oh my goodness! Now, if you're of a certain age, this is when I tell this story. Not very often, but I would say, and not very often, a few times a week, I would say it goes to show how much technology has advanced. So a very brief summary of what happened. So we sit on the runway, Mrs. Stats, patting her legs. I remember her doing that, saying, come on. She can see I'm a little bit down, but clearly up as well. Where would you rather be, she said.
So hang on.
Yeah.
You got married when?
The 27th of May, the Saturday before Wembley, yeah. Bad planning. And
you must have been praying that last day that it'll all be all right. Because if Blackburn beat Man City, it'll all be fine. Don't worry about.
I would find it very hard to believe that many people had as much on the line in that game as I did.
Obviously,
and
the
then
semis before that. Yeah.
The playoff memories. Like I said, I've got Jono's shorts that I came away with, but I remember. I cried a lot that season. I remember when in the second leg of the semi-finals, when it was clear that we'd won the game, and I think Rooster had scored again, and everybody is there, and they are singing. Que sera, sera, wherever we'll be. And I'm thinking,
oh, God.
I'm not going. I'm really not going. I've sung that song for many times.
Tell me with your mates
Members' Cup.
You're not going to Wembley. You're not going. Oh, mate.
So we're sitting on the plane.
God. Yeah.
At 9:30 on the day that England the Ipswich play at Wembley.
Okay. Yeah.
And we watched. So Mrs. Stat saying, "Where would you rather be? Would you rather?"
And you're leaving from where? Where are you? Stansted.
Gatwick.
Oh, Gatwick.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're off to Ocho Rios in Jamaica.
Very nice. So
it was called that because it was based in the tributary of 8 rivers or something like that. Hence Ocho Rios. And you pick up all sorts of things. So she said to me, "Where would you rather be? At Wembley watching Ipswich?"
It's a loaded question, isn't it?
And I'm thinking, where else are you going to say better than that? Or she said, or on a 3-week honeymoon with me to Jamaica. And I went,
3 weeks? 3 weeks?
Well, I'm only getting married once.
Fair play.
Yeah.
So tricky one that, because that's a loaded question, mate. How did you respond?
So I think I said something like, of course, darling. God, Jamaica. I was going to be. Can't believe it. And I hear they've got Galaxy Quest on the plane, and I wanted to see that. And we're going to get a little hot meal. So I just thought, you know what?
Little plastic knives and forks.
that little roll in a packet that you can't always get it out.
Can't open it. Yeah.
And sometimes you've got a little bit of butter on your hand and you can't get anything open.
Hate that.
I remember actually before we were there that in the departure lounge, once all of the baggage had gone through, out of my hand luggage, I produced David Johnston's shorts, waved them around, and there was a little joke since the playoff semi-final that I was going to take them, and Mrs. Stat, or fiance Stat, always hid them. And when I went to my hiding spot, they were gone. And at the last minute, I knew where they were. Yeah. I left them.
Yeah, grabbed them last minute.
So and they actually ended up on the balcony for 3 weeks. So classy. I don't think she's very happy about that. But I said, look, not being funny, but our first argument will be about football. And if I've missed Ipswich at Wembley, then I'm allowed to have David Johnston shorts hanging from the balcony. Anyway, we landed. This is 2000, Dave. It doesn't seem that long ago in my eyes. But guess what? Your mobile phone didn't pick up internet stuff. No. You went to Jamaica and said, have you got a Victoria's Secrets or a TV shop that I can just see if you got teletext on? There was none of that at all. So generally ask, how did the playoffs get on? And a lot of the locals were not aware. So we get back, we drive from Montego Bay Airport to Ocho Rios, get in our hotel and stuff like that. Well, clearly the first thing I'm not going to do when I get in the hotel is to phone home.
So hang on. What time is this?
That is, we landed after the game was finished.
Oh, okay. So you knew the score then?
No, I had no idea.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
No
sorry.
idea. I did kind of make a couple of hints.
So you're waving your shorts through a departure lounge or whatever?
In the departure lounge, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I remember saying to her, should I maybe speak to one of the stewards to see if they'll mention it? The pilot will mention it, but I don't know. Never did. So we land there. We get to Ocho Rios. Yeah. And it's about 11 o'clock here.
Oh, right. Oh, Christ.
In the UK. Yeah. And I think Jamaica's 4 hours behind.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. And they're pretty slow there. So I phoned home, right, from the hotel.
Yeah.
Phone rings. There's no one there.
What?
Can't believe it. There's no one there.
Not at the pub, mate.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'll phone your mum and dad. well, it's a bit late for them. They'd be a bit worried if you phoned after. I'm like, yeah, but we've just travelled halfway across. So we didn't. So we went out to have something to eat, something to drink, came back, tired and stuff like that, fell asleep.
What? Still none the wiser?
No, still none the wiser.
Wow. Yeah.
Wake up the next morning.
Yeah.
At, well, I don't know what the time was. So I phoned my mum up, yeah. And I remember it's 24 hours after the game had finished. Right?
Okay. So you're ringing her at like midday.
That's about 10:30, I think, I phoned. It's about 2:30, yeah.
Yeah.
And my mum answers the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, I wondered where you were. And I said, well, I did try and phone you last night. Don't ask the first question. Don't let that be the first question. Oh, yeah, the hotel room is lovely. It's great. You know, first time I've done all inclusive. Oh, all that sort of stuff. How'd Tane get on? My mum went, what? I said, how'd Tane get on? You mean you don't know? No, I don't know. No, I don't know.
Right.
So this is what my mum said. Well, what a game. What a game, she said. I can't believe it. I can't even remember how the goals went in. So I'm thinking, is this a wind-up? So she went,
have we won? Have we lost?
She went, they scored first, she said. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's taking you through the game.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Love it. Yeah.
She said, I think was it a penalty, she said? I don't know. Anyway, they scored first. Then she went, then we got one back. Who was it? So my dad's called Trevor, and I hear a shout in the background, you know.
Who's got the first goal?
Trevor, who scored it? And I heard him go, Mogga. She went, oh, yeah. So it was 1-1. Then she said, then the next, I can't, and I went, Mum, I said, you're killing me now. Just tell me the score. She went, we won 4-2.
Wowzers.
So at that point, I had the 1999-2000 gold away shirt.
Yeah.
Put it on.
Yeah.
Went down for breakfast. Had a few yams. Couple of banana daiquiris.
Yeah.
So
4 or 5 red stripes. Yeah. Fantastic.
So one of the great seasons in town's history, and I didn't witness half of it.
Mate.
I gave her my season ticket up that season as well.
Oh my! What?
Yeah, I gave it up because
doing up the house.
Well, the wedding and stuff wasn't there, and I remember the first game we played against Forest. I think we won 3-1.
Did.
And I was in the back garden doing some gardening.
Mate, you are.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I was madly in love. I'm still madly in love. I'm just saying. I was even more madly in love then. Anyway, let's bring us to.
Mate, on a good number one, just a quick number one. You'll love this. Oh, you must remember this, mate.
Mambo number 5.
What? You don't even know it was number 1 on your wedding day. Shame on you, mate. It's a banging tune, mate.
I remember at the wedding.
It was a miracle. It was Toka's Miracle.
Oh, Toka's Miracle.
Fragma.
If you ask me about 2000, I remember Mambo number 5, and our wedding song was to Martine McCutcheon's "This Is My Moment."
Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So I wish I had Toka, you know.
A Fragma.
Yeah.
Mate, we're rich.
We're having too much fun.
We're having far too much fun. Last game. We've got to finish on. We've got to sort of temper the excitement. So far we've had us winning the league. One of the great all-time Ipswich goals at Anfield, and a great draw. Our best away day ever. Sorry, I know you're in Lakeside, but best away day ever. Richard's first ever away game. I mean, come on. And we're a little bit coming down now, but this was still. I remember this game. So I wasn't there, but I remember this game very, very clearly. And probably this game, more than a good few in my years of supporting the town, was emotional for me more than is up there with sort of emotional wise if how the game ended. But go on, mate.
I was 15, so I wasn't at the game. And in fact, the question. Well, let's talk about. So it's a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
30th of April 1986. So it's 85-86. It's 7:30 kickoff.
So this was 86. This was April, May, June, July. It's about 3 months before I got married in August, mate. Close season. Actually, no, I didn't. I got married August the 16th, which was, spoiler alert, I think our very first game in Division 2 in Division 2 for like 18 seasons. That was the day I got married. There you go. So I didn't plan it brilliantly. But
so was that when we played Grimsby or Villa? Yeah.
I think it was Villa. I have to check that.
1-1.
Anyway.
Was it 1-1?
Yeah, I think so.
So we're at Upton Park.
I'm checking that now. You talk.
You go for it. Yeah. Bobby Ferguson is in charge of town, and in the home dugout at Upton Park is John Lyle. Obviously 6 years before, or 5 years before, he was going to become town manager. Yeah. Now I'm going to talk to you about So first of all, we just had that dramatic late win over.
You were right, Oxford. Of course. It was Grimsby 1-1.
It was Grimsby 1-1. Yeah. That was John Dean's debut, I think, in that.
I think it was. Yeah.
So we just beaten Oxford 3-2, and if you have a look, I tweeted it today. That fantastic late winning goal by Ian Atkins, and the absolute scenes, which I believe is what young people call it.
Bedlam.
Celebrating with the players, running from one stand to another, just standard back then in the 80s.
I think we thought that was it. We'd done it. Oxford were our big, think of the game before this. Oxford were our big rivals. We'd beaten them. We needed to win. We'd beaten them, and I think we thought we'd done enough, given who Oxford had left to play. However,
so we won 3-2. We go to Upton Park. West Ham in third at this point, and challenging Liverpool.
Best ever season. Odd season this. So this was a season. Well, let's go through the team. Go through the teams,
okay.
and I'll
Who do you want to go through first?
Go through West Ham. It's quite. It's a good side, really.
Phil Parkes in goal.
Who obviously had played for a couple of appearances for Town.
Yeah, I think he was about three years before he joined us, I reckon.
Yeah, I'd say so.
About 3 or 4 years.
Stuart.
Marcus Stewart's dad.
Yeah. Marcus Stewart's dad. Yeah.
Paris.
George Paris. Yeah. Left back. Yeah.
Martin.
Alvin Martin.
Devonshire.
Alan Devonshire player.
Alan Devonshire went on to manage Hampton and Richmond.
Yeah, and also more local than that, I think he was manager of Braintree for a time as well.
He was. This next guy, he was all over the park. He'd blow hot and cold some days. Gale.
Tony Gale, yeah, he's obviously on Sky and TalkSport now, isn't he?
I don't even want to mention the next game, but we'll come. Mark Ward, move on from him.
Yeah.
Orr.
Yeah, I think it's Neil Orr. I don't remember. Yeah.
Bradley Orr's great uncle.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, must be. Yeah.
Who the Dickens is the next player? I don't know what his first name is.
Alan Dickens. Yeah, little midfield player. Yeah.
And the next guy was a great player. Fantastic player. Loved him because he did fantastically well at Celtic and stuff like that.
He did.
Frank McAvenny.
McAvenny.
McAvenny and Cotty. Would you say that there's the equivalent of me and you doing a West Ham pod, right? All right, geezer. and McAvenny and Cotty are there. Crawford and Phillips.
Yeah, they are. I mean, this is West Ham's best ever league season, and McAvenny and Cotty were scoring goals for fun. However, up until I think January, even February into the new year, there'd been a TV ban. TV ban. Obviously, Sky in those days, so BBC, ITV.
How did it rain?
And I think the Football League had not been able to do a deal with the TV companies. Yeah. There was no football on TV. I think FA Cup games, but no league football on TV. So West Ham had been having this great season, and no one had actually sort of really bore witness to it until after Christmas. But is that right? Look at the crowd. Is that right? That can't be right.
Have you got your book there?
Yeah,
I don't think it is right, because I think as I got to the fourth game, I think that's the attendance of the fourth game that we did in the previous history pod. It's nowhere near that.
Oh, it's a template, isn't it? It's on a template.
I was cheating just to let people know.
Oh, it's still decent though. It's still 31. Yeah, it's 31,000. That looks like a Man U attendance to me.
It does, yeah.
We wouldn't even go to. It's still 31,000 though.
So it's game 41, and Town are in that fantastic white away kit, with the red stripe over red band.
Was it Radio Orwell? Feistons or Radio? I can't remember. Might be Feistons. Was it Radio Orwell?
No, it must be Radio Orwell then. I think Radio Orwell.
I have got. If I can dig that out. I used to play for a team. It was Fonero. I played for Team Fonero, and the manager Brian, the manager who managed the team, used to do some coaching down at Portman Road.
Yeah.
And for a senior cup match, that 86, I think it might have been a season later, 87, we had that kit and we wore those shirts, and I've got a picture of me wearing that shirt, and we had it all white. It looked so cool. So the white shirt, the blue and the red, white shorts, white socks. Look, I'll dig that out. I've got that somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah.
I like the away kit more than the home kit that season.
Great kit.
It was, yeah. Now, I couldn't really find a great deal of. In fact, some of the footage that you can find on YouTube seems to be so badly cut that you're kind of just catching the end of a goal just as it's scored.
Yeah,
I mean, we're going to half-time 0-0.
Just quickly, just interesting. What is interesting, we had obviously Paul Goddard, who was going to be an important player for us a few seasons later, was sub for West Ham. We ought to look at the town side just quickly.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the town side. You know why I forgot about the town side?
Go on.
I've got to get this. I've got to tell you, I've still been thinking about Kylie Minogue songs. And there's that one where she wears some sort of combat gear. Yeah, I'm gonna tweet you the video tonight. That's how it goes. It goes like a death march.
Is that the locomotion?
Confide in me. Come on, confide in me. That's what I was trying to think of. Why have I said that out loud? I could have used that. So the town team.
Yeah.
Patchwork team, would you say? There's a couple of players in here that you would.
No, I'm not sure it is. No, definitely not.
Okay,
go on.
Cooper in goal.
Yeah.
Tommy Parkin.
I couldn't even believe he was still at the club then. But yeah.
Steve McCall.
I mean, that's patchwork. Tommy Parkin right back. Steve McCall, obviously, been there.
Ian Cranston, who's obviously played quite a few more than the 5 that he's had. He's in with Butcher at centre half.
Yeah.
Atkins, Nigel Gleghorn, Marc Brennan, who was for a little while the youngest goal scorer for Town.
Until he was usurped by.
Yeah. This next guy.
Yeah.
Tell me how they've done that. Are you sure that he's Andre Dazzel's dad? You're saying there's. Actually, I'm not putting out there he is Andre Dazzel's dad. You're saying, well, hang on a minute. I heard in the pod that you might not be my dad.
No, we're not even putting that. We're not even going there, mate. Yes, of course he is. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
And the next guy stands out.
Yeah.
Michael Cole.
Yeah, Michael Cole. Promised.
He played that often for us.
Promised a lot. He was the next. Well, he came through. If you look at 86, so he was part of that. I think team with Dalian Atkinson, and he obviously broke through for Dalian Atkinson. I think a lot of he was pretty hyped up. A lot of expectation on Michael Cole, and never quite happened for him, did it? Really? No. He had all the attributes as well: big, lean, strong, quick. But I think he went to Fulham. I think
he was sort of in the transition period. So you had Dalian Atkinson.
Yeah.
And then you had Chris Kawamia, and in between you had Michael Cole, who had attributes of both of them, but wasn't as good as either of them.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Frank Yallop obviously hadn't done very well in his third league game away to Liverpool, so he's on the bench a couple of seasons later.
Obviously, Kevin Wilson. Yeah, Wilson. Yeah.
Good old jockey. So half time it's 0-0, and I think at that point we're quite happy. We'll take the draw, but the Upton Park faithful. Getting on
all 44,694
44,000 of them crammed into that ground. The amount of jelly deals they must have sold that game.
I am mash. Yeah.
63rd minute. Marc Brennan's got a pass. To be honest with you, he passes the ball into the just on the edge of the D, and Alvin Martin, who was a great defender, does not cover himself in glory at all here, and the ball goes to Wilson. His initial shot is saved by Phil Parks, and at that point, when you watch it on the TV, everything seems to go really slow.
It's quite funny, yeah. No one reacts other than Wilson.
Parks is kind of laying on the ground, thinking, "Oh, I'll kind of get up," and Wilson has got the ball. He picks it up, takes it around Parks, who is still meandering around on the ground, sticks it in the back of the net. 27 minutes to go. This is an unbelievable scoreline. West Ham fans are thinking, "Hang on a minute." We should do this. Now, going back to you and I not being at the game, Dave.
Yep.
My memory is being in my bedroom.
Yeah.
But I don't think this game was completely live on the radio. I think we might have been in the goal action.
Can't remember, mate.
There was no.
I can't remember. I think. Do you know what? I think I was probably playing. I think I may have had a end of season game somewhere would have been playing for then Ransom, something like that, and was probably in the bar. I'm sure there was. I remember something like. I don't think I was at home and we were listening to it. And we came. I think when we finished playing virtually, Town were 1-up, or whatever. In the bar, I heard Town were 1-up, and great, And then of course, and then you get
then the onslaught begins. So McAvenny, it's brilliant play, and he takes the ball and he runs at Butcher. Butcher's not quite sure what's happening, but he said, "I'm gonna sort you out in a couple of years' time when we're both playing in the Old Firm derby match." He takes to the edge of the penalty area. There's a great shot, and there's a fantastic save by Cooper. But like I said, that they're applying the pressure now at this point, and then 72 minutes, so we're 18 minutes away. Devonshire finds McAvenny. He plays a quick pass to Dickens, who chips in a lovely equaliser.
Great goal.
Yeah.
It's a chip. It's one of those. Yeah. It's a chip, but it goes in with power as well, doesn't it? It's a great goal. Cooper's no chance. Yeah.
I think I met Bobby Ferguson once, when I was a young lad, and sadly he's not with us. But I would love to have spoken to him to say, when they scored, 1-1. There's only 18 minutes left. A point for us is a great result. What did he do at that point? But I'll tell you what did happen. Town was still on the attack, and there's a great chance for Jason Dezelle. He's 6 yards out. Yeah. He's kind of he's scoring. He's in a position very much what I would consider a Jason Dezelle position, which is he's shooting whilst sort of falling over a little bit. He kind of always
scoops it. Yeah,
and it goes over the bar.
Yeah.
And then there's a great shot on YouTube of John Lyle and Mick McGivern are both sitting there, and the guy sitting next to him is just having a cigarette.
Puffing away.
Yeah, just standard. And then this is when, we spoke about other games when we knew that we were going to get promoted, when we beat Newcastle 3-2 back in 1992 and stuff like that.
You knew we were going down.
They go across and, Mark Ward, to be honest with you, it's a great run when he gets there. He evades 4 tackles, but I think it's those 4 tackles that he's evaded has conned the referee because he's thinking, hang on a minute, yeah. And Gleghorn lunges in or goes towards the ball.
He just goes down.
Yeah, Ward goes down like a back of spuds or a bag of spuds.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're thinking Marcus Stewart's great uncle is going to step up, and he never misses a penalty.
No, never ever.
Butcher's gone mad.
And he used to hammer him, and he used to belt him in low. Yeah, and it was a confident penalty. And we go on to lose the game. What I remember also about this one is I think Butcher. I don't know Butcher. I don't know, you must have his book. I think it's called Both Sides of the Ball. So he almost does a couple of pages on this very game, and apparently he went in like had to be remonstrated. Had to be hauled away from the referee at the end of the game. I think it goes in, kicks in the dressing room door, I believe, stuff like that. He absolutely loses his shit because he realises that, they got one more game, which was Sheffield Wednesday away. What happens there? But he realises that his time with Ipswich is coming to an end, and frustration boils over. I think it's fair.
Massive frustration. We were basically relegated, and before we go on
a point ultimately wouldn't have been. I think we'd have still gone down on goal difference, but who knows? People a lot more pressure on. Well, we said this before. What happened? Oxford played. We lose to Sheffield Wednesday on the Saturday. I think Oxford win, and they've got. It's ridiculous because Oxford have got games in hand because they won the League Cup that season, so they got games in hand, and they play Arsenal, which is finished a week after the season finishes, I believe.
Yeah, I think I played on the Monday. But the thing I would say about this,
don't turn up.
I think this point would have been enough. Because I think what happened? What I mean by that is the fact that we conceded a goal so late, and it was an absolute killer. I think that affected our morale going into. I think if we'd have got a point at West Ham,
Sheffield Wednesday, good point. We'd have probably gone. I may have even won at Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah, good point. Yeah,
What I remember is in Terry Butcher's book, he said, what Mark Ward did was terrible, and at some point he would get him back. So 19 years later, right, he thought it would be a little bit of a scam to hide 8 kilos of cocaine in Mark Ward's house. And unfortunately, that they found it, and Mark Ward was jailed for 8 years.
He was, bloody hell, Christ.
And
good little player, Mark Ward. I mean, I'll never forgive him for this, but good little player, direct, really good, tricky winger. But you're right, he was. And I mean, West Ham, I think, ultimately finished third. Very, very close. What a great season. I think 84 points, so 4 points behind Liverpool, and I think a couple of points behind Everton. Liverpool ultimately then went on to do the double. But Gerard Ashby. Gerard Ashby was the name of the ref. And that was we lost to Sheffield Wednesday, then Oxford won, as you say, beat Arsenal, and I think we lost our spot in the top division after 18 seasons, didn't we? Amazing run.
Remind me, European ban, was it the next year? Did West Ham get to play in Europe for finishing? No.
Heisel was 85, wasn't it?
Now,
No.
one of the things I want to mention, we talk about players' names in lineups and how they could be together. I'm going to give you five players' names, right? You can have a choice.
Yeah.
Do you want to choose Gail Ward or Dickens McAvenny?
Oh, Dickens McAvenny every time. That's a great name, isn't it?
Dickens McAvenny.
Yeah. Parkin McCall's not bad, but it's not as good as Yallop McCall. Nowhere near.
No.
I've got a number one. Have you got a number one? Okay, number one. Number one's got a bit of this is quite good. Now, number one, I'll give you a clue, is by a artist, okay, sadly no longer with us, deceased,
Pablo
very
Picasso.
sadly. Let's see where you're going with that. Sadly no longer with us. I'll give you a male soloist, sadly no longer with us. And I'll tell you what it is. It's Larson Torre did it famously for Ipswich about 3 seasons ago. He took one. This is a great clue. About 3 seasons ago, Larson Torre took one at Portman Road.
Oh, that is a great. I'll tell you, my mind has caught up. So I believe that number one could have been Larson Torre. It was a different corner, wasn't it?
It should be. I suppose I should say it should really be indifferent. But that's a pretty good clue, isn't it, mate? Yeah, George.
When you said that, I thought I'm pretty certain that Prince didn't sing a song about "Please Can I Have My Shirt Back," which he obviously threw into the
Prince didn't do that song "Dodgy Throwing," did he?
Dodgy Throwing. That was some Danish guy, I think, saying that. So. No, I'll tell you what, Dave. We've taken so long going off to Jamaica, and the fact that you had the greatest game ever, blue water and stuff. Well, let's not worry about birthdays.
Oh no, mate. Don't bother about
a
birthdays.
Roller coaster.
I'm off, mate. I'm off to Paddy Power to put a sneaky tenner on us tomorrow at 20-1, mate. I mean, what, a 2-horse race? We've got to have a punt at that, haven't we? Surely.
Never kept a clean sheet. Never kept an away clean sheet this season in the league.
Okay, that's a good.
It's a record. It will be a record. If we don't keep a clean sheet, it's a record in our history.
Yeah.
If we don't score 3 against Leeds, it will be another record that we've never scored 3 at home.
Neither are going to happen, are they?
Yeah. We've got the joint record for doing no doubles. No doubles this season. 0.
It's only one other team has done that. Did you? Other team.
It's happened. I hope Rich is listening, because I think I said that it didn't happen at all. But then I realised I had a stupid filter on my Excel spreadsheet. So when the tweet went out, and I was immediately like, oh, gosh, panic, got to delete it. It's happened 4 times. And every season is pretty rubbish. 94, 95. I think you can tell us about 69, 70. And the other one was, I think, 63, 64 or something like that. Yeah,
63, 64.
But I've enjoyed that. Off and back kickers is
brilliant. Off and back kickers. I mean, I still prefer Tulsa Roughnecks, but off and back kickers is pretty much up there.
Beat the Saskatchewan Rough Riders.
What? That's no such name.
There was. Yeah, you go.
Wait, playing what? Playing soccer.
Well, you haven't mentioned my new hat. So this is the new. So the NFL draft, as I mentioned earlier, what happened today, and they bring a hat out. Just so people like me will buy them. So this is an NFL draft hat.
Okay.
And Saskatchewan.
You need to wear that because someone's left the window open. Or something.
Saskatchewan Rough Riders were a former American League team or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure our Florida correspondent will come in and
Dazzler.
Correct us. But I've enjoyed that, Dave.
Brilliant, mate, as always, mate. And I don't know, it's conceivably, that's probably, will that be the last this season? It's got to be slim pickings from now on, surely.
I think we can squeeze another one in next week.
Another one in?
Yeah.
Go on then.
I think the list.
Especially for Jules and Ian, our 2 listeners, I'm sure they'd appreciate another one. I mean, I don't know where they're going to go with this one. This one's just gone on forever, for Christ's sake, but there you go. They listening about Lakeside, Jamaica, hits by Kylie.
Yeah, Toka, Fragma.
Where else would you get this?
Waving David Johnson's playoff shorts in the departure lounge.
Unbelievable. Now, just one question about that.
Yeah.
Did your new wife witness you? Or were you doing it behind her back? Then when she's turning around, were you sort of putting them behind your back or something?
I believe the phrase is in her face. It was such a game of hiding the shorts and me finding them again.
And then did she say, "Where the hell did you find them? Where'd you find them?"
Yeah. And then there was some couple who would probably go, and they kind of, I could see them watching us, thinking, "What on earth is going on there?"
Idiot.
But you know what happened? Took the shorts to Jamaica, and then Richard Naylor's testimonial. Could have been Fabian Wilness's testimonial, whichever camera it was.
Got him signed.
Jono was there, and I turned up quite sadly, saying, "All right, Jono." I said, "These were your shorts," and so we signed them. They're still dirty,
complete with grass stains.
Yeah, and they're a little bit
minging.
Yeah,
they're a pair of shorts to have had, mate.
Roger
Osborne's from the cup final.
If you come round Stat Towers, old people have like a blanket on the back of their settee and stuff like that.
Oh, no.
I've got Jono's shorts. Just
as a kind of a throw, because he was pretty. Yeah. He had a big hole in there. Fair play. One of my favourite players, Jono, had a great physique, but he had quite big in the arse department, wasn't he? So pretty wide around Jono's shorts.
For a guy of small stature, he did have a big pair of shorts.
That was his strength, though, wasn't it, mate? He was, Stat, brilliant, mate. Fantastic. Where can we find you? Twitter. Everyone knows, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I was going to say was, I'm hopefully this weekend going to run the most diverse pole ever.
I thought you were going to go on to say this weekend you're going to run the London Marathon, but right.
No.
Any spoilers?
It's an animal.
A town animal 11. No.
Well, I don't want to give too much.
Oh, it's a pole. Okay. Yeah. All right, mate. Okay.
It'd be a pole cat, but no, it's an animal, and I think people will enjoy it. And it'll be the most diverse. You're going to have some of the town's greatest players up against some of the players you've never heard of, and I don't care who wins it, but if it creates debate or rekindles memories of George O'Callaghan.
You're not going to put Richard Wright up against Paul Cooper, are you?
I'm going to tell you now, if Richard Wright qualifies, he doesn't qualify.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay, mate.
We'll find out later.
Controversial, really. We can find you at Chompex3. You can find me at David Diamond 3. This will be going out maybe tomorrow, maybe after the weekend-ish, I think. If you hadn't done already, please listen to the brilliant Rich and Harry's preview show of what's probably going to be the Sheffield United debacle tomorrow evening, where obviously quite an important game for them. I think a point is enough for them, is it? Or certainly, no, it's not. A win certainly is. I think a win will get them up.
We can't get anything from this game.
Unless Leeds put 10 part, which is not beyond the realms. But anyway, this is the brilliant Rich and Harry's preview show. I think I am possibly doing the flagship show with someone else, perhaps Ben, and I'm not sure who, on Sunday.
I heard Richard's doing it.
And I'm sorry, Rich, if it probably is Rich. And then, who knows, we may well squeeze in one more.
We will.
In the next week or so. We will. Yeah. That's a definite.
Now that I've signed the new contract, I'm quite happy to go back to doing
obviously, don't worry about the history in Ipswich game. Stat's got to tell us about the second week of his holiday in Ocarios, of course, and what happened. What happened there? Not too much.
It'll be recorded after the watershed.
All right, guys. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon. Cheers.
Thanks for watching.
Fantastic.